Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back at it again with another Enfield video. And one thing is abundantly clear after the further clarification from good old Hypergriff regarding the Fest of Brilliance banner, the banner that everybody on first glance thought was a scam, probably due to the massive amount of miscommunication over from the devs over for the Enfield team. Yeah, everyone thought this shit was a scam because it looked like you just had a random chance of getting any character on here, and with 2 limited units and 2 standard units, well, people thought it was a bunch of bullshit. Well, it actually turns out that this banner is a lot more well designed than people thought, but it does call into question every single person who made the awful decision of pulling on any of these 2 characters in version 1.0, because Hypergriff has played a rather aggressive hand over here and basically screwing over pretty much every single one of their day 1 players. So let's go ahead, let's start talking about this one, and of course break down just what the hell is going wrong over here. So let's talk a little bit about the Fest of Brilliance banner and how it works. The special headhunting that is only being ran because version 1.2 is having only 1 new limited unit. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, version 1.2 of the game, the second patch in Enfield's history, they're already hitting the brakes. They don't have the budget, they don't have the planning to have more than 1 limited character in the update. Let's go ahead and talk about what they've substituted the second banner with. The Fest of Brilliance special headhunting will begin on May 14th. You can see that it's happening pretty fucking late into the patch because the patch is going live in like 3 days. Yeah, this banner is launching like 28 fucking days in. 6-star operators that may appear in the special headhunting banner include Levitane, Gilberta, Ardelia, and Pog. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this banner will only have these 4 possible characters in the 6-star pool. The guaranteed count for this special headhunting is counted independently and does not carry over to or from any other headhunting banners. So this is kind of like the first scam when it comes to this shit. Yeah, so basically pulling on this thing will not inherit any of this shit over here, right? Like that 66 attempts to guarantee. And of course, you had no chance of inheriting this 120 pulls to guarantee because, well, this shit always expires after every banner anyways. So basically, this is the main thing that they're talking about over here. The 10 attempts to a 5-star operator or better. And of course, the 80 attempts that you see 66 over here to a 6-star. And this is the thing. That's because the design of this banner is better than pretty much every other banner that they've had in this fucking game, because we already saw over here the only 6-star operators that will show up are 2 limited ones and then of course 2 standard ones. A 5-star operator or better is guaranteed within 10 and a 6-star is guaranteed within 80. So think about it this way, ladies and gentlemen. When you get to that 80 pity, or let's just say you win an early 6-star, you have a 25% chance of getting any of these characters. That at a baseline would be pretty bad for a banner like this, especially knowing that there's 2 standard characters on here. But then there's a bonus over here. Perform a total of 120 headhunting attempts to receive a bonus Shimmering Moment designation permit. This lets you choose and get 1 6-star operator for free. Not really for free. You spent 120 fucking pulls to get it. So like the language here is just ridiculous. From the following: Levy, Gilberta, Ardelia, or Pog. And this bonus can only trigger 1 time. So you can see what's going on over here, ladies and gentlemen. You get a selector for any of the characters on here, but then on your way to the selector, when you lose, or really, when you just get a 6-star, it's a 25% chance of getting any of these units. And you can probably recognize by now what the big issue actually is over here. This is just a better banner at a baseline than any of the other limited banners that were in the game. It's just a better one. Because you could think about it this way. It's still a 50-50. It's still a 50-50 essentially, but then you have a 25% chance of getting a unit like this, and of course a 25% chance of getting a unit like this. And what do you think the people that pull during 1.0 are going to feel? Where Gilberta and Levy were on the bullshit limited banner over here. And you want to know why I'm calling it bullshit? Why don't we just take a look at what happened to one guy over here that actually did that? That actually pulled on the limited banners in 1.0, right? We got good old Mtashed. Let's take a look at this video. This is him pulling for Levy.
Slam and jam it. Now give me 2.
Let's just see it.
Another one. Where's the other one?
Let's see it. What did he get? Boom! Lost the 50-50. And then you can see from the rest of this video, right? Oh, he hit it again. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Boom! Lost the 50-50 again. Boom! Lost it again. Got Ember. And then, wait, what if we just go for lucky number 3? Hey, what if we just go for lucky number 3, right? Lucky number 3. Boom! Lost it to Le Fond. Guys, this is the reality of the situation over here. In this game, you can lose on this banner, right? Which is not the design of the Fest of Brilliance one. You can lose an infinite number of 50-50s on your way to this 120 guarantee. And you want to know what the most bastardized part of this 120 guarantee is? Sorry, whoopsies. That we're saving that one for later. We got the other Mtashed video over here, right? He'd be losing a bunch of 50-50s, right? We see it live. Guess what happens when he finally wins? Let's check first before he wins, right? He had 9 attempts to a 6-star operator and then 21 attempts to guarantee. Basically, if Mtashed were to lose this 50-50 again, he would only have like 10 more pulls to get Levy. And that would be guaranteed. It would be the spark, right? But if you win your 50-50, this thing disappears. If you win your 50-50 on this 9 attempts to a 6-star or better, your 50-50 disappears. And well, guess what happens? He finally wins it here. And look at that. Back to 80. And then the 120 guarantee is gone. Do you think that's gonna happen on, I don't know, this banner? No, because what can realistically fucking occur is that you could just be in Mtashed situation over here, right? Where it says some shit like 21 attempts to guarantee and then 9 attempts. You could lose this 50-50, but really, it's not even a 50-50. You could just get the characters that you want, the Gilberta or the Levy, right? You could get them, and then you get the token over here at 120 afterwards. That is the design of this banner. It literally addresses this massive fucking issue that fucked over so many players, where they essentially lose out on a 6-star unit for 10 pulls. In this banner system, there's no winning a 50-50 over here, right? There's no winning one. And so the end result is that this one is just an objectively better banner to pull on than anything else in the game. And when you just are rerunning units that were in 1.0 and it's version 1.2, how many people did you fuck over? Or really, I think this is the realization from the Arknight's Enfield developers. They don't care. They don't care that they're fucking over such a massive number of players, that they're fucking over such a huge part of the population. Because as far as they're concerned, I think they know everyone quit this fucking game. I think they know there's no day one player base left. Bro, have you ever seen a fall off this diabolical before, where you launch to 70k viewers and now you're down to 550 daily averages, bro? What is this? That is the reality of this game. It's so bad and so many people quit that they don't even care about the experiences, the hardship, the frustration of the 1.0 player base. That's why they had a returnee event, right? That's why this game gets no views on YouTube. That's why analytically, this is the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen, bro. Like, remember this? Why do you think we show the peaks and the lows and the dips and the dives on Google Trends, on Twitch Tracker, all of that stuff? Because this game was marketed like crazy. This game had a ton of players on release. If you were an early adopter of this game, good golly gee, all you could see is its depletion, its crash over time. And this, to me, is just an admission from Hypergriff that they don't give a fuck about any of their day ones because there's no compensation for this, right? We've already broken down and we've already explained this is just an objectively better fucking banner than anything else we've had in the game because once again, it removes this bullshit interaction over here where you can end up losing a 6-star. And guess what, guys? When you know that shit like 6 stars in this game are really important to get, you want to know why? Because you get a fucking weapon 10 pull, bro. You get a weapon 10 pull every time you get a 6-star unit. And losing out on one in this retarded way because you won a 50-50 is insane. It's nuts. It's ridiculous to just lose a weapon 10 pull like this and a copy of a standard unit, right? And naturally, right, we do have to make some concessions over here. Sure, you won't have this goofy ass chance, right? This 2 out of 8 chance of getting one of the other limited characters, right? But I'm pretty sure a lot of people would prefer the safety of not getting mogged and then having to balance it out with 5 other standard units and then 2 of like the past rerunning limited ones. I think people would just prefer not losing from winning a 50-50 like you can over here with this one. This is what these guys do. Instead of just fixing the baseline system to remove this bullshit interaction, because once again, this guy wins a 50-50 and then loses out on like 2,000 weapon pulls and a copy of a 6-star unit. That's what he just gets. He just gets fucked. It's insane. It's nuts. They remove that issue here, but they don't obviously make any actual sweeping changes to the gacha at the same time. And they even fix the issue of their bullshit FOMO mechanics because perform a total of 16 headhunting attempts and you get 10 standard pulls you can use at any time. Do you know like what the fucking bullshit you get in this game is? You pull 60 times over here and you get 10 pulls on the next banner that are limited. You have to use them on the next banner. And then on that other one, you get 10 standard pulls that you can use at any time. When the pity in this game expires, the 120, it expires banner over banner, right? Bro, like, what do you think people would prefer? The permanent resource that you can use at any time or the expiring one like this on a banner that they potentially might not even want to fucking pull? It's just so insane. It's just so crazy to see that they know what's wrong. They know what's pissing people off, and then they only introduce it over here. And then while they're introducing this, guys, they fuck over every person that pulled on Gilberta or Levy's banner in 1.0. Because do you want to know how much more beneficial it would have been for you as a player if you just didn't pull these units and you just waited until this patch? Just 2 patches later, by the way. Just 2 patches later, and then you get the opportunity to pull them on a banner that's so much better, it's fucking unbelievable. Imagine pulling in 1.0. Imagine getting fucked for pulling in 1.0 this early on in the game's release, and imagine receiving no compensation as somebody that pulled in 1.0 as they proceed to just fist you in the fucking ass with whatever the hell this is. Because it is objectively better than the bullshit that you were pulling on before. There's no recognition for the devs, though. There's no recognition at all. They're just saying, haha, get fucked, idiots. But do they care? Do they care? Probably not, because they've seen such a massive player fall off. Remember, they got a return. Sorry, I still can't believe they did this, bro. They had a returnee event in 1.0, bro. That's how they know the player base got fucking Thanos snapped 400 times. Oh, wait, we got the proof that it got Thanos snapped 400 times. Minus 50%, minus 50%, minus 50%. No views on YouTube. Nobody watches this fucking content because nobody gives a fuck about the game. They have a returnee event. Thanos snap in viewership, Thanos snap in fucking, what's it called? In YouTube viewership. So they're just saying, whatever. Fuck the day ones. Who gives a shit about them? Who gives a shit about anyone that was playing this game on day one? It's just wild, isn't it? It's just crazy. And that's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. That's the reality of Hypergriff. I don't imagine that they're ever going to apologize, right? I don't imagine that there's ever going to be any address by the fact that they've essentially wasted your money, potentially, if you spent it, wasted your crazy limited number of pulls because they had fucking 60 pulls in 1.1, right? So it's like not even enough to get close to guaranteeing a character. They're not gonna apologize, right, for you wasting your pulls on the Levy banner, for you wasting your pulls on the Gilberto banner, when you should have just waited for this one. Because, of course, nobody saw this shit coming. And I feel like there's a good portion of the player base that would have just preferred if this was a scam, as we had initially thought, right? Because instead, they're basically telling you, we'll just rug pull you at any time. Why even pull on the first run of a character? Why even pull on Zhuang Fangyi when she's going to show up on another Fest of Brilliance banner that's going to be designed way better? And they'll do it as early as 2 patches after the unit comes out. They don't realize they've set the most retarded precedent ever in this fucking game. Why ever pull a unit on their first run when they can just show up on something like this, where you can't get fucked winning a 50-50? Why would you ever do that? Just wait. It's not like you have anything to use these fucking units in. Why ever pull a unit on their first run when they could just show up on something like this again? These guys have no clue what they're doing when it comes to designing a gacha system. These guys have no clue how to retain a player base. I feel like they're just at the point where they're in desperation mode to try to salvage whatever the fuck is left. And I'm pretty sure somebody had to get on their hands and knees and go give the hypergriff leadership like a sloppy toppy to even get some shit like this in the game. But this is how this shit should have been designed on release. This is how stuff in this game should have been working all along. And the fact that they're not recognizing how badly they fucked over the day one player base with no address over here, and people are just gonna get in the mindset of skipping every initial run so that they can pull on a better banner later, and as early as like fucking, how long has it been? Only 70 days since these guys ran? Bro, it's gonna only have been like 70, 80 days since these guys first ran, and then you just have a way fucking better way of pulling them. Because think about it this way, guys. Let's just say that your goal is to get Levitate on this banner, and you have 120 pulls dedicated. When this was the system before, you had a 1 out of 7 chance of getting Gilberto, right, after losing the 50-50. What is 1 out of 14? You had a 7% chance of getting Gilberto before while securing Levitate on the first banner. You want to know what your chance of getting Gilberto is over here? 25%. So you now have a 25% chance of getting her alongside Levy. Oh, but guess what? You can actually increase the percentage, right? Because what if you just get Levy on the 80? Great, then you can just select Gilberto. Do you see how much higher your odds are of getting 2 limited 5-star characters just from waiting? Before, a 1 out of 7 chance, and you have to lose the 50-50 as well. Now, it's a 25% chance, but it's actually doubled, because if you're going all the way to 120, bro, you might get either of these, and then you could just select the other one at 120. What a fucking joke. What an absolute shit show these guys have designed. Because what about the day ones? What about everyone else? What about these thousands of fucking players? Nah, just go fuck yourself. No compensation, no recognition of wrongdoing, no recognition of how predatory this fucking system was in the first place. But it's good for new players. It's great for new players. Great for people that re-roll. Great for people that are starting the game. But anyone that's an early adopter, go fuck yourself. And that's really the only message you can get from this. And of course, you'll have retards like this saying shit like this in chat. Is he complaining about the banner getting better? No. I'm complaining about the fact that you are incentivized to just not pull on any of the day one banners because this banner got better. And it's so much disgustingly better than the debut banners for those 2 characters. It's disgustingly so much better. It's insane. And rug pulling players like this within 70 days of release is absurd. It's like a fucking crypto scam. That's what this game feels like. Yeah, no, that's probably the best way to describe it. This game feels like And the shit you see in this game, it feels like a fucking crypto scam, bro. And I've never seen one to this degree in any mainstream title before. Never. Not even once in my fucking life. And this ain't even like the anniversary. This ain't even like some celebration, right? This ain't even like a 6-month anniversary. This is just a random 1.2 patch. There's no excuse for this. What these guys should be doing to address the issue of their dog shit gacha system is very, very, very simple. They should just be having sweeping changes to it as a whole. This whole token thing should just be a thing on every limited banner so that you don't end up in a situation where you get fucked like this. There should be compensation of like 2,000 Arsenal tickets and a random standard 6-star or something like that given out to every player who got fucked by this. But that would require Hypergriff taking responsibility. That would require Hypergriff admitting wrongdoing instead of just sweeping it under the rug. And when this is the company that still, to this day, will not address the fact that you can't use PayPal in this fucking game, bro. Look, I'm not actually buying shit. Who the fuck would actually do that? Bro, they're still not addressing the fact that PayPal's still down. Under maintenance. What? Bro, this is like the McDonald's where the ice cream machine is never working. It's broken at this point. You got blacklisted. But that would admit fault. That would be them admitting wrongdoing. That would be them taking responsibility for their fuck-ups. And that is something that this company will never do. And the fact that this PayPal button is still here, still says under maintenance, is not telling the truth regarding the matter, is all the evidence that you need. And that's the conduct that you can expect moving forward from this absolute clown show of a development team. That's gonna be it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you all thought. Peace out.